Or you get to watching a top scary story, but not real. It's fake. Don't get scared. Don't pee your pants at night. But at night though, but get in the video.
I used to occasionally
Like, comment, subscribe, my channel soon. Ground to stop. No, like gazer, man. Get on video.
deliver for DoorDash on the weekends. This happened about a year ago, and at the time DoorDash was new to my area. Not many people used it, but if you worked at the right times, you could still make well above minimum wage. It was a Friday night, and I got a request in the app to deliver to a house around 8 miles away. The house was on a deeply wooded back road, with absolutely no streetlights. Like, literally, if you turned your headlights off at this time of the night, you were completely blind. I delivered to a house in this area once before, but that was when it was light out, which, trust me, is a way different scene. I didn't have much for phone service, so it was difficult to find exactly where I needed to be. But after a while, I finally found the place. The house seemed pretty similar to a lot of the other houses in the area, secluded looking, and right on the edge of being able to comfortably call it abandoned. I pulled up to the house, and because of the limited visibility, I decided to keep my car's headlights on while I dropped off the food at the door. But to do this, I had to keep...
What the fuck you like that for? You looking bummy. You look kind of bummy for his videos. Alright, give me a second, Jack. My fault. I keep stopping the video and shit.
the keys in the ignition, and so I did. I figured it wouldn't be the end of the world if I left my car running for an extra 30 seconds. I took the bag of food to the front door. I knocked a few times, and waited about 20 seconds, when my phone went off.
I'm in the back.
I was getting a call from a blocked caller ID. I decided to answer it, in case it had anything to do with the food I was delivering. It was some man, who sounded completely normal. He explained how he was the one who placed the DoorDash order, and he then asked me if I could just bring it to him around back. I was already sketched out as is.
Around back. What I told you? I was there, man. I was there. What I told you, man. Around back. What the hell? What I told you, man. What I fucking told you, chat.
And so I told the guy, no way. If he wanted his food, he needed to come to me up front. But to that, the line just went dead. I told myself I'd wait at the front door for one more minute. And if this guy didn't show up, I was just gonna leave. Maybe 30 seconds passed, and the guy did show up. The front door opened, and I looked at the dude. He was wearing a black ski mask, and was just standing there looking at me. I held out the food, but he made no reaction. That's when the guy yelled out, "Alright, now!" Right as he said this, 3 men, also wearing ski masks, came sprinting out from around the back of the house towards me. My flight reaction kicked in immediately, and I ran straight to my car. I opened the door, put it in drive, and had the pedal to the floor in no less than 2 seconds. The men were able to hit my car a good amount of times before I was able to drive off. With what, I don't know, but something strong enough to break my back passenger side window and make a few other dents. Not even a minute into driving off, and I got 2 back-to-back calls from a blocked caller ID that I can only assume were both from the same guy. I let both calls ring until they stopped. I was shaking uncontrollably and still struggling to regain my composure. But after a few minutes, I calmed down enough to call the police and report the incident. And that was that. I don't know what ended up happening, and I genuinely don't want to know.
Martin, dude, I gotta be saving DoorDash. Hella crazy nigga out there. Hella crazy people out there, man. Be saving doing that shit.
I've tried to distance myself from the whole situation as much as possible. It's beyond terrifying for me to imagine what those guys had planned for me that night. A part of me thinks it was just to rob me, but another part of me thinks they wanted to kidnap me, or worse.
Yeah, it's just sad though. Gotta be safe out there. Keep a tool on you, just in case, man. Just in case. FaceTime me from what?
This happened back in 2019, on a Friday night in January. I had just gotten back from work, and was honestly way too tired to make my own food. I always heard good things about food delivery apps, and so I figured that night was the perfect night to finally download one and try it out. I just downloaded the first one that showed up. I then made an account, placed an order at a semi-nearby restaurant, and turned on Netflix to watch while I waited for it to arrive. Now, it's worth mentioning that on this night in particular, there was a lot of snow on the ground. The app said the delivery would take around 20 minutes, but I figured that didn't account for the terrible driving conditions. I honestly assumed it would probably take double that. I can't remember exactly how much time had passed, but it finally got to a point where I figured I'd just forget it and cancel the order. But right before I did, I got a message from the driver.
On my side.
Word for word, the message read, "Can't find your house. What's your personal phone number?" Now, you
Bad trap at the trap.
gotta remember, I had
That's
just
a fucking
downloaded the app
trap.
that night. So, I didn't know if it was common or not for drivers to ask for their customers' personal phone numbers. But I ended up giving it to him anyway. Around 10 minutes later, he would contact me, but not over a phone call like I expected. The guy texted me, saying he'd be at my place with the food in 10 minutes. This unsettled me a bit. I was under the impression he needed my phone number so he could call me and get better directions. But I just tried to brush it off. Around 10 minutes later, I would get another text saying he left the food on my doorstep. I went outside to get it and sent a text back thanking him. I figured that was that.
Nope.
But
Yeah, it's not waiting for
around
you.
midnight, I would get another text. It was the delivery driver. The text simply read, "I really liked your sweatshirt." This was now getting extremely weird.
What the fuck? I'm here right now. I like your sweatshirt.
As the text suggested that the guy had stayed to
Nah,
watch me
crazy.
grab the food from my doorstep. I tried
Oh, I told you.
to play it cool
I was
and
there
responded with something
too.
like, "Haha, yeah, thanks.
I
It's
was
pretty
there
nice."
too.
I can't
I'm
remember
the
everything that was said next,
delivery
but
driver.
it was some string of multiple texts that were something along the lines of, "So how's your night going? What are you up to?" and various other seemingly harmless messages.
The fuck?
To these, I didn't respond. At the end of the day, I told myself I didn't know this guy,
Hey, acting like
and I had no obligation
crazy. What you doing? What you doing tonight? Trying to see you. I like your door open up.
to keep a conversation going,
Watch.
so I just went to bed.
Watch here.
But come morning, I would wake up to 20-something texts and multiple missed calls, all from the same number. It was again that same delivery driver. The last
Don't ignore
text
me.
was sent at 3
I'm
a.m.
coming.
and as I scrolled through the texts, two in particular caught my eye. One of them read, "I'm outside your house," and the other said, "I can't see anything through your window. It's too dark."
What the
But
fuck?
that wasn't even the worst of it. I would later go outside to find footprints in the snow that I knew for a fact were not there the other day. Meaning, this guy wasn't joking. He had actually showed up to my house, and by the looks of the footprints, had walked around it multiple times. I've since moved, and haven't received another text from the number.
Yeah,
That was the first, and only time I will ever use a
that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. That's a,
food delivery app. I'm 27 and currently out of work. I recently got laid off at my job, as the company I worked for was starting to go under.
What?
So, in an effort to keep up with the bills, I started delivering for Uber Eats part-time. A couple of my friends suggested it, and so I figured I'd give it a try until I found another job.
That's kind of crazy.
To my surprise, it
That's
was actually
kinda
good
crazy,
money.
not gonna lie.
The only thing I didn't like was some of
That's
the places the
kinda
app had me delivered to.
Crazy.
I live in a city with a lot of sketchy areas.
I'm fine.
I try to stay away from those areas while delivering, but there's only so much you can do.
Oh,
This
not
night,
too long.
a Saturday, I got a
20
McDonald's
minutes.
order. I usually don't accept those ones, but this night was strangely dead, which was weird. Saturday nights are usually the busiest for Uber Eats. Anyway, I pick up the order and start heading towards the address I'm given. Instantly, I realized it was not in the best area, but by this point, I decided to just suck it up. I pulled up to the house, and right away the vibe was off. It was completely dark with not a single light on in the house. Usually there's at least a light on upstairs, or something that would signal someone being awake and waiting for their order. But the house seemed dead. Nevertheless, I put the car in park, turned off the engine, grabbed the order, and started walking towards the door.
Give me a second.
I walked onto the porch, and as I reached for the front door, I saw it. The door was slightly cracked open. I knocked, and as I did, the door opened slightly more. I yelled out that I had an Uber Eats order, and right away some man walked to the front door, like as if he had just been waiting right there. As he got closer, I got a good look at him. Now, I'm not one to judge a person by their physical appearance, but this guy was practically covered head to toe in tattoos. The guy looked extremely intimidating. Definitely not someone you'd want to mess with. He had this look of frustration, or almost anger on his face. He was staring at me dead in the eyes. I lifted up the bag of food, and he grabbed it. The guy then started reaching in his pocket. I figured he was going to give me a tip. But no, before I knew it, the guy was holding a hunting knife and pointing it in my direction. My stomach dropped, realizing the situation I was now in. I was either going to get robbed for everything I had, or worst case scenario, killed. My mind was now racing. Thinking as fast as I could, I turned around towards my car, screamed at Derek to grab the gun, and put my hand in my pocket to start my car's engine from a button on the key. But there was no Derek, and I was in no way armed. But I figured if I could somehow convince this guy I gave myself a chance to get out of this. All I could do was pray that the threat along with the vehicle starting would be enough to convince this guy I didn't come here alone. And luckily it was. The guy shoved me back and slammed the front door. I ran back to my car and practically tore the door off trying to get in. Drive! I got out of there as fast as I could. I would of course end up calling the police, but I never heard anything back about whatever ended up happening. I assumed they didn't find anything, and that the guy was long gone by the time they arrived on scene. But I can't confirm this. If there's one thing I'm sure of, it's how fortunate I am to own a car with a remote proximity.
You never know that. I say, but always keep a gun on you. Always keep a gun on you.
Key, as I don't think the guy would have bought the whole act if I didn't start the engine. I still drive for Uber Eats every once in a while, but I've since started carrying a knife on me at all times.
That's good, that's good.
The pandemic has been pretty hard on all of us, and we've all felt its effects in a variety of ways. But musicians, a delivery driver to support himself as he studied. But since he graduated with distinction from the University of Sheffield, Tavisha had quickly found himself a well-paid job in the IT sector. The generous pay package meant that it would be much easier to apply for permanent residence in the UK, which would open the door to eventually moving his family over too. His boss was sad to see the back of such a hard-working young man go, but also happy to see Tavisha moving onward and upward in his chosen career path. All he had to do was work one more shift, just one more night, and he'd be starting off his new life as a white-collar professional. At around 10 p.m., Tavisha would have been making one of his final runs of the night as he drove out to Southie Crescent with a customer's order. As he parked his car, unfastened his seatbelt, and opened the driver's...
Nothing I'm in here, it's kind of boring now. Like, comment, subscribe, much coming soon, trust me. Next up, follow my other account, only R6, the gaming account. My account is kind of, my vlog channel kind of dead and stuff. I'm going down for it. It's ass that channel. But can I tell you, next time, boys, peace.